All right, guys, let's look at today, page 187 and 188 in your Georgia Ready book. We're continuing to learn about finding and modeling equivalent fractions, and we've said that equivalent just is a big word that means equal. They equal the same amount even though you use different fractions to name them. Kind of like how you can call $2 $2, 200 cents 20 dimes, like that. You're just showing it in a different way. So for our example, it says Maria colored 1/3 of her art paper red. So here's 1/3 of her art paper. Erica, not Harriet, colored 2/6 of her art paper yellow. Did the two girls color the same amount of their art papers? Well, if we look at the model here, we can see that 1/3 and 2/6 do cover the same amount. It also shows us that on a number line. So on this number line, it's from 0 to 1. It's been split into, first we can do it into thirds and pretend like these sixths aren't here. And I can see here's where 1/3 would be, and here's where 2/3 would be. Then if I continued splitting and did sixths, I could see that 2/6 is the same place as 1/3. So those are equivalent. Now we're going to use the number line to complete the equivalent fractions. So first, 1/4 is equal to how many eighths? So all I need to do is look over here at my number line. I'm going to find 1/4, which is right here. And then I'm going to follow that down. And 2/8 is at the same place on the number line. Oop, I still got my really big thickness on, so let's make that a little bit thinner and make that 2/8. There we go. Number 2, 6/8. So I look at my number line. Here's 6/8. Follow that up. The equivalent fraction is right here, 3/4. For 3, I'm looking for 2/4. So here's 2/4. Follow that on down. And my equivalent fraction is 4/8. Okay. Let's scroll on down to page 188. Here we go. We're going to do some shading here. Shade the bars to show equivalent fractions. All right, we can do that. All right, now I'm going to select my 1/2, and we're going to move that over here. Aha. So 1/2 covers the same amount as 4/8. As 4/8. Okay, because that covers the same amount. For question number 5, we're going to start off with 2/3. So I'm going to make this thicker. Well, let's do pink. I love pink. 2. Sorry, I'm going out of the lines a little bit. There we go. Now let's select that and see how many sixths that is equal to. And you'll notice that both of my rectangles are the same size. They're just partitioned differently. So when I put that over here, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 of my sixths. You can do it prettier than that. There's mine. All right, question 6. Now we got to draw some lines. So let's move to our line tool. Draw lines and shade to show equivalent fractions. All right, so we want to show 1/2 and how many fourths. So I'm going to do my 1/2 just right down the middle. And I'm going to start by doing this one in half the same way. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and color 1/2 on both of these because I want y'all to see something. So let's go on up. Ooh, I can do transparency. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Oh, I like that. Then when I go over, you can still see the lines. Awesome. Undo. I'll keep it messy because I'm trying to figure out how many fourths. So I'm going to come back over here to my line tool, and I'm going to go ahead and just split this now into fourths. Okay, notice I didn't color anything else. All I did was split up that area that I had already colored in. And how many fourths do I have now? Well, 1, 2. Therefore, 1/2 is the same as 2/4. Ta-da! All right, let's do the same thing for number 7. In number 7, we're trying to figure out how many thirds are equal to 4/6. So this time, we're going to go to our line tool, and if I want to show thirds or sixths, I always start with thirds anyway, because thirds go about like that. We can make that a little bit prettier, and I'm going to do this one in thirds the same way. But then I need to make it into sixths. And to make sixths, I can do half of my thirds. So each third needs to be split in half. You could have done it this way. You could have done it vertically too. Doesn't really matter as long as you are breaking it into 6 equal parts. So now I'm going to go back to my coloring tool, and I want to color in 4 of my sixths. Now, if I were to pick this up and move it over here, I can see that 4/6 is the same as, dun dun dun, 2 of my thirds. See how that worked? We just moved it on over. You should color both sections on your paper though. So color in 2 of your thirds over here. I'm not going to spend the time doing that right now because it takes forever, but you make sure to do that on your paper. Now, number 8 says, what fraction is equivalent to 4/4? Explain how you know. So if I were doing this question, I would use the strategy that they've been showing us right here where we've been drawing 2 rectangles. So I would start off by coming over to the side. I want to do 2 rectangles that are exactly the same size. Otherwise, I can't show how they are equivalent. And it's asking me to show that 4/4, what that would be equivalent to. So I'm going to need to break this rectangle into 4/4. So let's go to shapes, line. All right. Okay, there's our 4/4. And it says we want to say what it's equivalent to. Well, to make this go a little bit faster, I could come down here. Let's just do it. We're going to do the same thing again. All right, so we're going to do half, fourth, fourth. Okay, pretend like those are equal. And shade it in 4/4. I can already tell it's equal to 1 whole, but that doesn't answer my question because my question says what fraction is it equivalent to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to partition this rectangle again. As long as each of my pieces are partitioned equally, I'm going to get another equivalent fraction. So come here and let's change our transparency so that you can see it. I'm just going to do a line right across the middle because that'll split each of my fourths. So now, instead of 4/4, what do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And all 8 pieces are shaded, so 8/8. So what is a fraction equivalent to 4/4? Explain how you know. Now, this is just an example answer. You may have another way of wording it that's correct also. If you're not sure, you can, send me a picture, send me a text on Dojo or a message on Google Comments. But I would say 4/4 is equivalent to 8/8. I know this because I drew a model and partitioned. Helps if you spell it correctly, right? Drew a model and partitioned it into fourths. And what did we do? We shaded. I shaded 4 of the fourths. Next, I partitioned each fourth in half. This gave me 8/8 with the whole gave me 8/8. I could also say another correct answer might just be saying how 4/4 is equivalent to 8/8. I know this because both of these fractions are equivalent to one whole. And I can see that here, that both of these fractions cover the whole. All right, guys, that's the end for today. See you later.